Hello everybody. From the faces that I can see and the initials that I can see on people that have got their cameras turned off, I think I know most of you. But for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Rebecca. My current role in the organisation is General Manager of Business across residential, but I have worked previously as a facility manager at a couple of our facilities across the state. So I'm here today to talk to you about iCare, which is our new resident documentation system in residential care. Very exciting and a project that's been a number of years coming. We've had some ongoing frustrations with our previous / current documentation system, Autumn Care, for a number of years. We've fallen behind with upgrades to the system, a number of different background factors as to why it hasn't, it's no longer the best system for us as an organisation. And we were at a point where the work that was going to be needed to upgrade Autumn Care was such that it made sense for us to actually go out to market and have a look at what other systems were about and to consider the possibility of transitioning to a completely new system. So there was a group of us that formed a software tender review team, and iCare was the team after iCare was the program after analysis of a number of programs that we decided was the way forward for our organisation at that time. So to tell you a little bit about iCare, for a number of you have probably already started to work and have a look and use the system. It's got a number of components to it. The first component to it is what we call the resident manager system. So that's actually where we enter all of our residential inquiries, which gives visibility that we've not really had before to see when we're getting inquiries, where they're sitting, whether they've had tours, which facilities they're interested in, and all of that sort of information. And from that system, we transfer them into our care on that system, and that communicates directly with Medicare. And it also communicates with what we call clinical manager or iCare, which is where we do all of our resident assessment and charting and documentation. In that system, we also have a component called Message Manager. So that now gives us the ability to send bulk text messages and bulk emails out to all of our families, which is obviously a marvellous benefit, particularly during these times when we've had lots of quick communication that we've needed to send out in relation to COVID. And also in regards to the requirements now with the commission visits, when they're unannounced, we must notify all our families that the commissioner are on site should they wish to contact them and discuss any issues that they wish to. So it gives us that ability to do that quite quickly to all families and smoothly, rather than having to go into Autumn Care and pull out everyone's phone numbers and ring them and all of those sorts of things, which we've all known of doing in the past. So very exciting. We feel that it's a much more user-friendly system. Obviously, everyone out there will be the judge of that, and certainly any feedback is more than welcome on the system, because it is a much more flexible system in terms of the ability to make changes and adjustments to the system. So we have got much more control over the ability to do that. There's certainly dramatically improved reporting functions. So for our clinical care coordinators and our facility managers, and for me as well in a statewide role, it is much easier for me and all of us to pull information in regards to incidents and things that are happening for our residents quite quickly and easily. The quality of the resident assessments and care plans is much greater, more advanced than Autumn Care. So for those of you that have looked at or used Autumn Care assessments, very much a tick and flick type process. iCare is very much about actually written information that is individualised and quite specific to the resident. And that's something that's been a consistent theme for a number of years with our visits from the Commission or the Quality Agency as they were previously, really giving us that feedback as an organisation that we just weren't individualising our care plans enough. And it was very hard to do with Autumn Care. So the system was quite rigid. So whilst it is a change in how we go about doing our assessments. So it is a skill that we have been working with our nurses to help develop, because we're asking you to do something quite different to what you have been doing for the last few years. So really getting in there and individualising those assessments with lots of free text boxes to be able to do that. So yeah, so we've been working through the transition. Our facility managers and Triple C's working very hard and leading their teams, doing a marvellous job in transition across. Transitioning to any system is a huge task. And unfortunately, because of the outdated system that Autumn Care was and the detail and the changes that we've needed to make to be in line with the quality standards within our new assessment forms, we haven't been able to do data extraction and data dumps from one system to another. So it has been quite labour intensive, and I'm very appreciative of all the hard work that everyone's been putting into that. So Fairway Rise went live first back in August, and a bit of a different process there of going live. We turned on all the functionality for the system first up, and then they've been transitioning assessments across over the last number of months. Mount Esk, however, have gone live with a clean cut. So they've done a marvellous job and had basically 100% of all of their information transferred across into iCare, and yesterday cut the cord on Autumn Care, so are now live in the iCare system with all of its functionality. So big round of applause to Mount Esk and the team there. They've done a brilliant job in achieving that. So, the only other component to the system that's yet to come is what we call Medication Manager. So that's an electronic medication management and administration system, which everyone's very excited and waiting quite eagerly for. So we will roll that out in the new year once all of our sites have gone live with the documentation component. And size of relief for everyone, actually a much simpler system to go live with, much less work involved in that. So yeah, so over the next couple of weeks, all of our sites are on a trajectory to go live prior to Christmas. And yeah, it's very exciting and job well done, and to all of the staff and FMs and Triple Cs out there that are working really hard to get the information across. So that's enough of me talking. I think I've taken up nearly the whole time just explaining it to you. Yeah, does anyone have any questions for me about it?
Rebecca.
Hi, Chantel.
Hello. More of a question for Heather and the team over at Mount Esk. Just wondering what their experience has been like.
Yeah.
Like from their personal point of view, just wondering how they feel with it.
Exhausted. Yeah. Tired. Tired. I've got Liz here, our physiotherapist, who's has a massive task because she's still currently putting her physio assessments on, and she only works 5 days a fortnight. So apart from having to do all the other usual stuff, she's actually trying to get residents on as well, and it's been extremely easy. And yeah, and her physio assistant has been away because she's been on prac and had exams, so it's been really
busy.
very busy, very busy. I'm fortunate that I have a fantastic team at Mount Esk as far as staff and all levels of staff. I mean, we've had nurses putting assessments together, but we've also had our ECAs eagerly learning the system and training each other. We've had some super users who have been working really hard with each other and encouraging the younger super users have been encouraging the ECAs and sort of, you know, holding their hands, walking them through it. So it's been really, really good. It's been a really fantastic team building exercise.
Definitely. Even down to the cleaning staff, you know, they're not on iCare, but things that I may do, they've gone, oh, I've said I do iCare, no worries, Liz, we can sort that out for you. So everybody has stepped up. These guys, I have to say, have done an absolutely fantastic job of driving and supporting. And I have to say that this is where the major support has come from for everybody at Mount Esk. It's actually from these two people sitting in this office here. And I don't think we would have got anywhere near this if we hadn't have had Lara and Heather supporting everybody.
I didn't pay for that.
They've done a marvellous job. So what about, can you talk to the actual functionality of the system that you've experienced?
Look, I think it's I think it's great. It's very, very easy. And like yesterday, just watching like the nurses taking their tablets and going and doing their wound charts and taking selfies instead of taking photos of the wound and things like that. It's been a little bit of a teething thing, but functionality wise, it's been really good. And staff have, you know, we didn't have anybody coming in going, oh, this is so hard or anything like that. Everybody just was so positive and there was such a good feel yesterday, and you know, and they were just really having a red hot crack.
They still are.
They still are. Some of the questions and stuff on some of the assessments are quite repetitive. Like they could be sort of like decreased and perhaps maybe mapped across a little bit easier. And I know that Liz has found some difficulties with her physio assessments aren't actually mapping out where she'd like them to be going, like mobility and stuff like that. So that sort of does make it, that makes it a bit more labour intensive in that respect. But I suppose that's a bit like you sort of got to use it and chew it a little bit to sort of pull those bits out that really are, that make it labour intensive, because essentially we want to be able to, we want the best outcome for our residents and staff, and that means by freeing the staff up. So if we can get to identify those areas that are too repetitive, and the mapping is improved, then the functionality will come with that. It will just improve time. But yeah, like it's easy to use. I mean, it's much easier than Autumn Care. It doesn't crash like Autumn Care does.
And it loads straight away.
And and the information loads straight away. And I can even sit at home in bed and do an assessment if I need to, like because it's all in the cloud. Good. So it's very portable as well, like that. And I think the GPs will be really happy with that, because they can actually go back to their offices and log in and actually do updates, their notes there.
So from the here, what will happen is there'll be a process where Hazel and I, so we're very fortunate now that we've got nurse practitioner with us. So Hazel and I have set aside some time over the next couple of weeks to review all of those assessment forms and the queries that are starting to come through now as people are using the system and giving us that feedback on the mapping and all of those components. And with her expertise as well, obviously, in terms of, you know, the clinical data that we need to make sure that we are gathering to provide that high quality excellence in clinical care as well. So it's been a bit of a journey, but along the way we've been supplemented more and more by more team members and people with more expertise in it as well. And Lara's been very humble sitting there as well. Lara's actually been a member of our project management team, so she's been, you know, not just driving her facility but also supporting facilities throughout the state. She's really been my right hand Queensland wingman rock extraordinaire in supporting the project, and the project as a whole just really wouldn't probably have got up and run as well as it has without Lara sitting there giving me that support as well. So I'm very grateful to her for that as well. Yes, Liz.
Sorry, so can you just clarify? So one of the issues that I've got and that I've recognised, not just what I've got, is when I do a physio assessment or a mobility assessment, the information doesn't into physio, doesn't populate into the leisure and lifestyle section about transfers either. So we're at risk of missing some very important information for resident safety. So is that something, is that going to happen, that will repopulate?
Yeah, so it's certainly something that I can review, Liz, off the top of my head in terms of the functionality and making it map from assessment to assessment. I can't give you a direct answer right now.
Just take the questions and just have it in one
spot. I've certainly noted that feedback has been coming through now as more people have been using it. So it's definitely something that I'll review with Telstra Health and look and see what we can do in terms of that. Likewise, it might actually be, if we can't map it across there, the possibility of actually going, well, okay, we're not going to gather that information in the leisure and lifestyle assessment. We'll gather it in this assessment, but we'll transfer it across multiple care plans. So there's a couple of options there that we'll have a look at, you know, based on people's feedback about functionality.
Yeah, just like, and the pain as well. So there's, you know, asking about current pain issues. Well, actually, there's a big pain assessment. So do I really need to address that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely take on board your feedback.
So I'll write some of the things down and then
that'd be great.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Did anybody, just conscious of the time, does anybody have any other questions?
There was just one question that came through from the website, completely off the topic of eye care, but for this session as well, which Beck, you probably well placed to address, is that it's from Lisa Moore, and she said the flu season is now over and most flu vaccinations would be expired by now. Therefore, when are we able to allow people into our facilities who choose not to have the vaccine?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's one that Hazel, our nurse practitioner, is looking at as well, because you're right. The effectiveness of the flu vaccination only lasts for a certain period of time. So we are also still, however, we're still bound by the legal requirement to be checking that. So it's also a conversation that we need to have with higher authorities in terms of, okay, can we have some direction here? Do you want us to be requesting people to have a second round of flu vaccination? What that is. So it certainly is something that has been noted and is being reviewed in the background, and we'll have some information out to you as soon as possible.
Awesome, thanks, Beck.
Fantastic. All right, if no one's got any more questions, I'll say farewell. Have a great day. And yeah, please don't hesitate to touch base, send any emails with suggestions around improvements to eye care, etc. Yeah, everything, always more than happy to have the feedback from the people that are actually using the system on a day-to-day basis. It's got to work for you guys. So yeah, please send your feedback through. Wonderful. Bye.
Bye.